At the start of the movie, we witness a bride and groom preparing for their wedding. Both are getting ready in separate rooms. The groom heads to the wedding location along with 6 of his friends, all dressed as groomsmen. When the bride arrives at the wedding venue, she notices a woman holding a small child. This sight saddens her because she fears that getting married today might mean she won't have children of her own, even though she loves kids. It's important to note that the bride didn't have any actual obstacles preventing her from getting married. So why was she feeling this way? We'll uncover the answer later in the story. Instead of proceeding with the wedding, she decides to run away because she doesn't want to regret her choice later on. Now, let's jump back in time within the storyline. The bride and groom are on a vacation together. The bride looks at her finger and points out that it's still empty without a wedding ring. She asks when the groom plans to place a wedding ring on her finger. The groom reassures her, saying, "Don't worry, we'll get married very soon. In our workplace, you really need to think twice before deciding to get married because of the company's strict rules, as you already know." Afterward, they headed to a bar to relax, enjoying drinks and dancing. Inside the bar, they noticed an elderly couple radiating happiness. Witnessing their joy brought happiness to the bride and groom as well. The elderly husband commented that when they got married, they were just as happy and full of vitality. The bride and groom clarified that they weren't married yet. They had come for a vacation to spend time together. The elderly couple responded by saying, "No worries, you'll get married too, because marriage is a beautiful bond. It's been 20 wonderful years since we got married, and we still love each other just as deeply." Meanwhile, in the present, after the bride had run away from her wedding, the groom called her and pleaded for her to return. The bride firmly stated that she had made up her mind not to get married and had even devised a plan to leave. The groom reminded her of the company's strict policies and warned that they wouldn't let her leave easily. Feeling angry and frustrated, the bride reassured the groom that he didn't need to worry about her safety. She abruptly ended the call and sought refuge at her dad's house, located deep within the jungle. Even though her father didn't live there permanently, he used the place for vacations. Inside the house, she secured all the windows and doors, finding solace amidst her father's memories. Gazing at his picture, she couldn't help but regret her choices. She acknowledged her father's wisdom, realizing that she had made a grave mistake by getting involved with the dangerous secret company she, the groom, and their friends worked for. This secret company was filled with ruthless gangsters and criminals, willing to kill anyone for money. Despite the company's rules allowing marriage, the bride and groom were bound to continue working for the organization after tying the knot. This realization made them reconsider their decision to get married immediately, prompting them to step back from their plans. Amidst the strict rules of the company, getting married was allowed, but having a child was strictly forbidden. Breaking this rule meant severe punishment. This reality pushed the bride to run away from her wedding, desperate to escape this dangerous world where there seemed to be no way out. Despite the groom's pleas, she remained resolute in her decision. To lift her spirits, she started singing, letting loose with some drinks and dancing, determined to salvage her wedding day in her own way. Meanwhile, the groom suspected she might have sought refuge at her dad's house and sent his closest friends to bring her back. The friends arrived at the house and confirmed the bride's presence by spotting her car. The groom's best man called him to confirm, saying, "You were right, she's here. We're going to bring her back soon." The groom, deeply in love, implored his friend to make her understand and ensure her safe return. With the situation escalating, the best man cautioned his friends not to engage in a fight that could harm the bride. He knew she was strong-willed and wouldn't surrender without a struggle. Instructing his friends to search the house thoroughly, he emphasized they should do anything necessary to find her. As they approached the main door, they discovered that all the windows and doors were tightly shut. Despite their attempts to break in, they couldn't force the door open. Realizing they needed to act tactically, the best man directed his friends to split up and surround the house from all sides. He instructed them to enter whenever they found a way in. Inside, the bride heard their voices as they searched. Alarmed, she peeked out of the window and saw the best man about to enter. Panicking, she retreated back inside and attempted to flee through the back door, only to find 2 men blocking her path. Forced to retreat again, she closed the door and remained hidden inside the house. Meanwhile, the groom continued searching every corner, desperately trying to find her. Realizing that the intruders were entering the house, the bride grabbed a knife from the kitchen, seeking a way to protect herself. She hurried to the upper floor and found solace in a secret room hidden there. Inside, the group of people gathered in one place. The best man emphasized the importance of capturing the bride alive. He stressed that they mustn't harm her fatally, despite her actions. He acknowledged that the wedding had started well, but her escape had jeopardized everything. Everyone knew they were all part of a dangerous company, and the owner was furious. The bride, being aware of their secrets, posed a significant threat. If she went to the police, they could all be caught. The story then shifted to the past, where the bride and groom reunited with the elderly couple. The couple kindly invited them onto their boat, promising a great time filled with fun. Eager for a break, the bride and groom accepted the offer and boarded their boat. In the present, the bride found herself alone in her secret room, armed with a knife. After some time, she cautiously opened the window and scanned the empty road below. Seizing the opportunity, she emerged and swiftly fled the scene on her bike. However, her escape was short-lived when a friend confronted her. With her bike's speed slow, he managed to push her, causing her to fall and sustain minor injuries. Despite the pain, she bravely got back on her feet. The friend, undeterred, warned her that she couldn't escape. Slowly advancing, he challenged her resolve, but the bride stood her ground, displaying the knife and started threatening him. "That I'll murder you if you approach me." The bride assaulted him and began fighting with him. He took hold of the bride's fur. But she behaves cleverly here. With her legs, she catches her scruff. She uses a knife to cut off his scruff after that. She suffered severe blood loss. When she starts to flee once more while riding the bike, another man has now arrived here to apprehend her. That's why she dashed back inside the house. But then they both encircle her. One of them was tall, and the other was remarkably short. The tall person attacked on bride. She refused to give up. With surprising resilience, she got up, delivering a powerful slap to the tall man. Then, armed with a shovel, she fought back fiercely, hitting him until he fell, lifeless. Seeing his companion defeated, the short man became even more furious. He attempted to threaten her with a chainsaw, a sharp blade weapon. However, his chainsaw wouldn't start. Seizing the opportunity, the woman struck him hard, causing him to tumble far away. He fainted instantly. With her assailant down, the woman seized the chance to escape, running away from the scene. The best man, having spotted the bride, cruelly laughed at her predicament. Fearing for her life, she rushed back inside the house and found refuge in an upstairs room. There, she locked herself in and clutched a golf club tightly, ready to defend herself. The best man informed his remaining companions that the bride was hiding upstairs and declared his intention to capture her personally, considering that two of their comrades had already been killed. Meanwhile, the story shifted to the past, depicting the bride and groom's arrival on the old couple's boat. As the bride and groom enjoyed their time with the old couple, the husband began sharing stories. He likened their situation to dolphins in the water, swimming alongside sharks that could be a threat. However, he emphasized the dolphins' cleverness in avoiding harm from the sharks. Hearing this, the bride and groom realized that the old couple had discerned their true identity and intentions. Suspicion grew as the old man discreetly moved a gun from a drawer, hiding it beneath a plate. He understood that they were dealing with dangerous individuals and anticipated potential danger. When the bride eventually discovered the gun, it heightened the tension in the room. In the present, the group devised a plan to catch the bride, intending to confront her repeatedly until she grew tired and vulnerable, making it easier to apprehend her. The first member of the group entered the house, but the bride surprised him by capturing him from behind. However, he fought back, attempting to harm the bride. The bride, despite the odds, had received substantial training during her time with the dangerous company, and she utilized her skills effectively in this dire situation. When one of the men managed to grab her, she quickly maneuvered her legs, leveraging a bookshelf for support. She turned the tables by attacking him from behind, delivering a series of blows before ultimately strangling him to death. As the next man approached, the bride launched an offensive by climbing onto his stomach, but he fought back fiercely, attempting to harm her. They struggled, and he began to strangle her. Despite the odds, the bride persevered, managing to snatch the man's knife. She swiftly turned the tables, causing him severe pain by stabbing his legs. In his weakened state, she managed to subdue and kill him by removing his throat. With the two assailants defeated, the bride kept the knife and made her way out of the house. Her escape led her to her car, but to her dismay, she realized she didn't have the car keys. At that moment, the best man and another accomplice appeared, taunting her with the keys. They subjected her to a brutal beating. The best man and his companion attempted to compel the bride into going with them, threatening her with violence. The best man instructed his companion to beat her severely, intending to make her submit. As the best man ventured back into the house to celebrate their apparent success in capturing the bride, his companion confessed to liking her but expressed his inability to go against the company. He had a hidden knife, and in a desperate move, the bride stabbed him in the eye, causing him excruciating pain until he passed away. In her dying moments, the bride revealed that her apparent surrender had been a ruse to trap them and exact revenge. When the best man emerged and discovered his companion's lifeless body, he was shocked. The bride seized the opportunity to grab him, stabbing him in the neck. Confused and terrified, he questioned why she was turning against them, to which she responded that they were all part of the same company and there were no true friends. She instructed him to call the groom and inform him of her supposed demise, instilling fear in the best man. The best man deceitfully called the groom, falsely claiming that the bride was dead. The groom found it hard to believe, knowing her strength and intelligence. Meanwhile, the bride swiftly dealt with the best man, snapping his neck, ending his life in a ruthless manner. Soon after, Bono arrived, revealing he was still alive and trapping them all. This revelation angered the bride, and she attacked Bono fiercely, rendering him unconscious once again. When he woke up, he found himself bound and helpless. Defiantly, Bono mocked the bride, claiming her attempts to intimidate him were futile. In response, the bride confidently declared she had recharged her dance with determination. She initiated her dance, terrifying Bono. He pleaded with her to spare him, but she ignored his pleas. With a chainsaw in hand, she gruesomely severed him into two pieces from top to bottom, ending Bono's life in a brutal manner. In the past, when the bride and groom had initially met the old couple while on a holiday, they were actually on a mission. Unbeknownst to the bride and groom, the old couple had once been members of the same gangsters' company. However, they had fallen in love and decided to leave the company behind, no longer wanting to be involved in criminal activities. The company was hunting them down, and they had sent the bride and groom to kill them. In a tense moment, the old man drew his gun and aimed it at the bride and groom. However, he discovered that the magazine with the bullets was missing. The bride revealed that she had already removed the magazine, anticipating this situation. The old man, resigned to their fate, expressed sadness and acceptance, knowing that the company would never let them go. In response, the bride and groom retrieved their guns, shot both of them, and ended their lives. Right now, the bride is wounded, and the husband is covered in blood, and the bridegroom is overjoyed to see her still alive. He claimed, "I understood I couldn't pass away in this manner." The bride, desperately seeking an escape from the company, urged the groom to leave with her, believing there was still a chance for them to start anew far away. However, the groom, burdened by the inevitability of the company catching up to them, expressed his resignation. He questioned the worth of spending 20 years running, only to face the same fate in the end. The bride reminded him of the old couple who had managed to live happily away from the company for 2 decades. She suggested that those years could be filled with happiness for them as well. Despite her plea, the groom couldn't bear the idea of running and waiting for an uncertain end. He expressed a desire to share one last dance with the bride before facing their fate. As they began their final dance, tension hung heavy in the air. Suddenly, the groom launched an attack and a fight ensued. In the struggle, the bride dropped a bottle of alcohol, shattering it on the ground. With a heavy heart, the bride picked up a shard of glass and ended the groom's life in pain. The act was a painful necessity, a stark reminder of the happy times they had shared together, especially during their holiday celebrations when they had decided to get married. Overwhelmed by grief and sorrow, the bride rose and began to leave the scene. As she walked away, memories flooded back, reminding her of the love they had once shared, now tragically ended by her own hands. In this moment of despair, her mobile phone rang, displaying the company's name, University. The call signaled that the company, despite her attempts to escape, would never cease its pursuit. With this chilling realization, the story of the movie came to a haunting conclusion.